Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Between the Grooves, the vinyl collection. So this is going to be part 2 of 1971 to 1972. And I'm going to start with a band that I've already mentioned. I've already talked about this band, but this is the first album I heard from this band. Came out in March 1971. Went on to sell 7 million albums, was number 7 on the US Billboard charts and number 4 on the UK charts. I'd never heard of this band before I actually heard this album, and a friend of mine introduced me to it, and just kind of blew me away, really. Much like, you know, their previous albums and albums I came to love and enjoy. It's a collection of blues, folk, prog, jazz, all kind of rolled into one. And this is really their seminal album, as I said, the first album of theirs that I actually heard, and absolutely love this album. I've actually got 2 copies of this album. Aqualung by Jethro Tull, with its, again, you know, iconic cover here of this kind of homeless dude. Apparently the concept was kind of inspired by Ian Anderson, singer, main songwriter, one-legged flutist. He hasn't got one leg, he just stands on one leg a lot. And it was inspired by his wife taking photos of kind of homeless people in and around London. And apparently the figure on the front, this figure, which I always refer to as Aqualung, apparently Anderson actually modelled for this picture. I've actually got 2 copies, because I've got the original recording, and I've got the recording as remixed by Stephen Wilson of Porcupine Tree. You know, I swap and change, really. I mean, there is obviously still the warmth and beauty of what you get from a 70s album, but Stephen Wilson certainly did something amazing, and kind of, I don't know, maybe just took off some of the slight sort of backward kind of distortion, especially in the voice, kind of cleaned it up slightly, but in a good way. Anyway, Aqualung. Is it a concept album? The band, well, especially Anderson, have always maintained that it's not, but it certainly has a central theme for running throughout the album, really, which is really about the distinction between God and religion. Sort of the idea that, you know, you can believe. You can believe in the teachings of Christ. You can believe in God without necessarily conforming to an organised religion, and it kind of is how I often have felt about religion as well. Is that, you know, religion is about the way in which, or the interpretation of the Bible, or the Word, as it were. Not that I'm hugely religious. I'm actually an atheist myself, but I'm very interested. I always have been in kind of religion and the history of religion, what have you, as in being brought up as a Methodist. Anyway, I love this album. It's got some fantastic tracks on it. I'll open up the Steve Wilson one, because you've got, you know, obviously again, great artwork. The gatefold, which is this. I don't know, this, I don't know if you can quite see this sort of picture of this, I don't know, it's kind of like minstrels sort of playing and people drinking and just having this sort of great time. I don't know, it's a juxtaposition to maybe the sort of the homeless guy on the front. Some really great tracks. This Aqualung is the title track. It then goes into Cross-Eyed Mary, which is a real kind of like rocker of a song, which was actually covered by Iron Maiden. I think it was the B-side, again, I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, the B-side of The Trooper, the single I Trooper from Iron Maiden. And Iron Maiden have always cited, especially Steve Harris, bass player, main songwriter, and founding member of Iron Men, has always cited, you know, sort of Jethro Tull as being a major influence to him. So you've got some great songs on the first side, and then on the B side, you kind of get into songs like My God, Him, and the Wind Up. And the Wind Up is certainly one of my absolute favourite songs. It's a song that I actually like to play and sing myself. It's got a great chorus, a great melody to it, and a great theme to it as well. Again, this idea of kind of being told how you should worship, follow God or what have you, and you know, you can just kind of do your own thing, and you know, as long as you go along with the concept and the central themes, you know, you don't need someone to tell you how to do that. But anyway, I absolutely love this album, Jethro Tull's Aqualung, Eva version. Sorry, just disappeared off the side there. Yeah, again, I never heard of the band when I was introduced to them. The first album I heard, it actually made the band really became far more commercial, far more popular, especially in the States. And there's a great live show of Jethro Tull at Madison Square Gardens, which was the tour of, I believe, the tour of Aqualung. Well worth checking out. The next album I've got here, probably as well known for its front cover. Really, this is the first album that this band recorded after Brian Jones died a couple of years earlier. This is Sticky Fingers by the Rolling Stones. Their first album to reach #1, both in the UK and in America. Grammy nominated front cover, photograph really designed by, you know, the famous Andy Warhol. You know, the debate, Beatles or the Stones. Personally, controversially, I always fall down on the Stones. On my side, I much prefer to listen to a Stones album. I don't, you know, I like the Beatles. Yeah, absolutely fine. You know, you can't underestimate, you know, the impact that the Beatles made. But you know, I'll talk about that maybe in later episodes. But I've certainly owned more Rolling Stones albums, and I certainly listen to a lot more Rolling Stone albums. And I actually think this is their best album. I think this is their seminal album. Some people say it's Exile on Main Street. Some others in there as well, but I think this album is fantastic. It's got probably the most famous song is Brown Sugar, which, you know, is I guess in our modern eyes a little sort of controversial, I guess, lyrically at least. And I guess I don't think the Stones actually play it live anymore. But you know, this is 1970. 1971, but other than that, it has again probably one of my favourite songs of all time, Wild Horses, on it. Beautiful guitar playing by Keith Richards on this, really intricate, delicate guitar lines. Then it's got the really sort of almost morose, remorseful Lady Morphine, which is kind of the story of someone's, you know, in hospital after you know, a heroin overdose. It's quite, you know, dark. It's quite a dark concept, and many dark songs on it. But there's the funky stuff as well. You've got I mean, Bitch is fantastic. Great bass line as well. Great riff in Bitch. Really funky song on here. So I think, yeah, I mean, this guy actually has, you know, his fly actually comes undone here, and you've got the little, I won't attempt it, but you kind of got the zipper as well. I think they did release it with alternative covers as well, but I actually love this inlay that you get with the album there. I don't really know what's going on, but Jagger looks a little bored there, I think. You know, I love Jagger. I mean, I talk in my book. Have I mentioned it, by the way? Between the Grooves, an autobiography, still available on Amazon. I talk about, you know, singers I admire, singers I love, and Mick Jagger's an interesting one. You know, probably not technically one of the greatest singers, but I actually like a lot of singers that aren't, you know, technically brilliant in the traditional way. I just think he has a lot of feel. He has a lot of soul. I think he has a lot of emotion, and especially on that album with songs like Lady Morphine and Wild Horses, I think he really comes into his own. And I would, you know, challenge or fight anyone who says that Jagger isn't a great vocalist. Vocalist more than the singer. Great frontman as well. Okay. Next album, released in 1972 on Chrysalis, the fourth album from this band. Again, a seminal album by this band. They've done a lot of albums, and they've gone through various different guises as well. But this, I think, this kind of goes down in history for a number of musical history for a number of reasons. This is Genesis's Foxtrot. There's the fox in a dress. There's some kind of shark there. And you've got the back cover. Again, you know, I don't really know what's going on here. We've got some hunters, which are like aliens and fish people and weird stuff going on. One of them's crying a lot. I don't know. Now, I think the reason I want to talk about Foxtrot really is because there's great music on this album, and again, I think it's the album that really kind of properly broke them. This is Genesis with obviously Peter Gabriel, way before Gabriel left and Phil Collins took over the mic. It does have Collins on drums here, obviously, but I think it's worth noting because really of most of the is it the B-side? I think most of the B-side is taken up with just one song. It's actually two songs. It's Horizons, followed by the song Supper's Ready. But Horizons is just a lovely piece of guitar music played by Steve Hackett that just segues beautifully into the main song Supper's Ready, to the point where if I hear Supper's Ready without Horizons, I think they missed a bit out of the song. It is a completely separate song, but I don't know, it kind of really works. But Supper's Ready, I think, is often cited. It may not be 100% true, I guess, but certainly as one of the first times that a progressive band took a sort of suite of songs and put them together, or suite of music and put them together as one song. It's kind of has movements. It kind of starts in one place, it moves off, it gets weirder, it gets more avant-garde, and then it gets more intense, and then it slowly comes back full circle to where we started. Great vocal performance, I think, from Gabriel. Again, maybe not someone who's ever sort of cited as a great vocalist, certainly as an innovator, and lyrically, fantastic and hugely admired musically. But I actually think his vocal performance, especially on Supper's Ready, is fantastic. It's almost like he takes on different characters and different voices throughout the song. And a song that kind of weighs in it around 23 minutes. Lots of different concepts on there. He's kind of, people are trying to kind of fathom what Supper's Ready is about. But I think, make up your own mind. Just kind of put your headphones on, lie back, and kind of listen to it. Greatly admired again by a lot of prog artists, and it is a great album, full stop, without even having Supper's Ready on it. It sounds great. Band really at their height during this sort of period, obviously. But check it out, Foxtrot by Genesis. Okay, I'm gonna, let's just talk. This one here. Again, I've got a number of copies of this, later releases and what have you. I certainly don't think this copy I've got is an original release. It goes back a little way. I think it will probably worth a little bit more. Wait, I don't want to shock you sitting down if you have a nervous disposition, but here we go. That scary guy. What a cover! What a cover! In fact, if you open it up, you got the screaming guy, and then you kind of got his sort of, I don't know, his ears sort of wriggling out of him somehow, and you got this on the inside, you know, just whoa. This is in the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. You know, I'm really strange album. It starts with the scratchy, distorted, sort of paranoid song, 20th century schizoid man. It's all sort of scratchy and edgy and sharp and what have you. And then it just kind of mellows. It mellows out into songs like Epitaph, which again, lyrically, I think is a fantastic song. It's just kind of a little trippy, sort of mellowy, kind of just sort of floats over you. Absolutely beautiful pieces of music. And, you know, it's got I Talk to the Wind again, which is a very sort of gentle, floaty kind of number. And then on the B-side, you've only got 2 tracks. You've got Moonchild, and then you've got In the Court of the Crimson King. I used to listen to this album with my now wife, Kate, when we were like 15, 16, 17, something like that. We just like, you know, kind of chill out, sit on the bed, listen to In the Court of the Crimson King, and I think Epitaph has kind of become a very special song for the both of us. You know, we got married about a month ago, and we actually talked about Epitaph somehow being included, but it wasn't probably an appropriate song for a wedding, but certainly it's one that means a lot to us and brings us closer when we kind of listen to it. But, you know, a lot has been said about this album. Quite experimental, beautiful album, odd album, fantastic cover. Yeah, look at that guy. King Crimson and the Court of the Crimson King. Okay, so I'm going to finish off with album released in 1972 on RCA. This was, surprisingly, when you think about it, the 7th album by this artist. He'd sold well. He'd sold pretty solidly, especially the last couple of albums before this one. But this one sent him stratospheric, almost. Well, not literally, but you'll get what I mean. Yeah, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Just, again, is it a concept album? I guess it's a loose concept album, you know, kind of, or a rock opera, again, sort of following the protagonist Ziggy Stardust, which is kind of a fictional sort of alien, or bisexual alien rock star who kind of comes to Earth to kind of save us before an impending sort of apocalypse. In fact, the first song on the 5 Years is that kind of is kind of this sort of desperate, paranoid, frightened kind of song about, you know, we've only got 5 years and everything's going to hell. And then Ziggy comes to kind of, you know, save us with we've got Starman on here, Lady Stardust, Ziggy Stardust, Suffragette City, and Rock and Roll Suicide. And again, you know, how cool is Bowie on the front cover of, well, the back cover actually of that album. There's probably been, you know, a lot been sort of talked about of this album, but love it, absolutely love Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders. You know, if I'm going to be honest, if I'm going to listen to a Bowie album, it's probably going to be this album. Musicianship is fantastic on it. Obviously, Bowie never looked back from this period. You know, he changed as he did the you know, the rock and roll chameleon that he was. But this album really, you know, was a key moment in his career. Absolutely love this album. Fantastic. Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. I had to quickly pause there because I realised I hadn't actually grabbed the copy of this last song. So this is Argus, or Argus by Wishbone Ash. Came out in 1972. A landmark album. Progressive album. And I would say really is important because of its twin lead guitar sort of harmonies that were kind of later adopted by bands like you know, Thin Lizzy, and again, you know, Iron Maiden. And, you know, in fact, in an interview, Steve Harris of Iron Maiden said that he thinks if anybody needs to understand Maiden's early, you know, career, early life, you know, in particular kind of the harmony guitars, then all they have to do is kind of listen to Argus by Wishbone Ash. If you listen to Warrior on here, and then listen to Revelations by Iron Maiden, you'll definitely see many kind of influences. Album cover, rumoured that this is the inspiration for Darth Vader from Star Wars. I can kind of see what you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's just a bit of a myth, but it's kind of cool. The album was designed by Hypnosis, Storm Thorgerson and Aubrey Powell, who, you know, designed, you know, Dark Side of the Moon and many other sort of classic albums, really. Musically, it's kind of psychedelic, kind of swirly psychedelic, quite funky. It's got rock in there, it's got folk in there, it's got blues in there, but I tell you what, it really rocks. It's a surprising album, really. I hadn't really paid much attention to Wishbone Ash until probably 15, 20 years ago or something. Someone lent me a copy of this, and yeah, I was kind of absolutely loved it from the moment that the needle hit the record. There's the guys doing their thing. I'd say beautiful harmonies, some fantastic guitar work in there, possibly inspired Darth Vader's outfit. Definitely inspired twin guitar attack of bands like Iron Man. Well, Iron Man got 3 guitarists now, haven't they? Right? You know, certainly for, you know, people like Thin Lizzy and what have you. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining into to this this session, episode 3 of Between the Grooves, the vinyl collection. I'm off to download this weekend. If you're there, have a good time. Say hi. What I thought I'd do, because you know, I do like a festival, is I think the next episode I'm going to do a special, and I'm going to do a special on live albums. And one of the reasons I'm going to do that is because I need Kate, my wife, is not convinced yet of live albums. I'd always rather listen to a studio album, but I said no, there's real merit in live albums. So I think what I'll do, I've got quite a few live albums. I'll try and cherry pick some for you, and we'll cover some live albums next time. So, you know, until then, as always, be good, be kind, be truthful, and be free. Out.